Hello everyone, my name is Nitin Singh. I hope your paintings are going great, you are learning and you are improving your watercolor every single day. So in this watercolor tutorial, I am going to talk about, or rather I'm going to demonstrate some of the very important aspect of watercolor, and those all are related to the basic understanding of watercolor. So the reason I am making this video because I see there is a lot of beginners who really struggling to understand this medium, and they are just they are just going and referring some of the things which is in advanced level, and that's where they are actually going a little down. So this video is all about that. So very first thing you need to understand about watercolor is the watercolor is basically it's a transparent medium. There is a lot of transparency. When I say transparency, let me give you an example what exactly it is. So let's take an example of this painting. I hope you're able to see. Okay, so now can you see this 2-3 layer? So one layer, and above there is another layer, and there is a third layer. So take an example, this one as a first layer, and then this is second layer, and this is third layer. Okay, but you can see the transparency, you can see the transparency very clearly, and that is what the watercolor by itself is a unique medium to work on. Just see here how it's been, the transparency of this color, it's so amazing, and that is what you have to consider when you paint. You should keep that transparency. Now you will say how I'll keep the transparency, then I'll give you an example. So let's assume that you have made a first layer, like in a first color of it. Okay, now I'm using, let's take an example. I have taken this ultramarine blue. The reason I'm just taking because this is the color which is being used, ultramarine blue and a little bit of green. So I've just taken the same color. I wanted to make a transparency. So I've just taken this color and I've given this patch. Okay. So now once this get dry, you will see that it's a really amazing transparency effect, really transparent effect you will receive once this entire the patch will get dry, and that makes this watercolor beautiful. So whenever you are making any watercolor painting, just try to understand this. It's a very basic thing which you need to understand. The reason I'm talking about this because a lot of beginners, they treat watercolor in a opaque manner. I mean how the oil color works and any other medium works. So to avoid that mistake, first you need to understand this. Okay, so these are the very basic understanding of the watercolor. Okay, so can you see this transparency? Okay, so if I'll make it here, okay, these all are transparent. You can still see the below the layer, you can still see that what's there the below of this. So I hope you understand this. So another thing is you have to understand is the how to use the water and the color. So collaboration between the color and the water is very significant here in watercolors. So I'm just giving an example. You have taken example this ultramarine blue, and you have used here. Now this is mostly let's say it's maybe 50% of color. Now when you're taking water, okay, now it all depends on how much water your brush holds, and the moment actually you're making your painting, that actually gives a lot of this gradient. Okay, So try to understand this gradient, how this gradient works. So when you put it here just below the color, this is how actually this this amazing the gradient works. Now if you'll just take the color the water here and if you put it here in a top, then what happens is it takes another texture. It makes a different texture. So what happens is the color actually starting washing your color and it is coming down. Okay, so that gives another amazing the texture. So basically if you're able to see this, so it starts giving a very nice the texture here. So you'll have to do a lot of experiment such kind of work. And you have to do a lot of experiment. Let's take an example, like if you want to make a leaf. Let's take an example. I'm making one leaf here. This is the leaf, and I have used this watercolor here. Again, the same concept. Okay. So this is sort of leaf you have made. Now, just imagine that what all the other experiment you can bring in your practice. So let's take an example now. Again, I want to make one leaf. Okay, so this is my leaf. Now, since I have taken this green color, now I'll take a new green color. Okay, I have taken this green color. Now, I also want to add some other color. That brings the variety in your painting. Okay, so now we're starting adding the different color also, right? There is another leaf. So not necessarily that I'll just stick with the the same color of the leaf. I will start doing this experiment. I'll just I'll bring some depth and light using some more other color. So such kind of experiment you need to do it, right? So this is the another aspect of learning watercolor. Now the very interesting thing which you have to develop is that the drawing, the importance of the drawing, because a lot of people, a lot of beginners, they really don't care about the sketching. They just start making watercolor immediately. They really don't want to draw anything, and that's where you are making a mistake. So if you want to learn watercolor, you have to practice, you have to do a lot of sketch. Let's take it on with this leaf. So if I make this leaf this way, okay, this is my leaf. So I'm just doing a sketch. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have a space, so I'm just utilizing this. So to understand the depth and the light and the softness and the depthness of this leaf, you have to work on this sketch. That will give you a lot of understanding of the depth and the lights and the entire composition of your painting. So you have to do a lot of the sketching like this. Okay, make a lot of sketch. Okay, so what happened is I've seen many beginners that since they don't do a lot of practice on sketching or drawing, so what they will do is they're pretty good, they understood some of the basic of watercolor, but once you will ask them to create a plant, so they will struggle to create a leaf like this, and something happens and then they'll start. So unless your drawing is not accurate, if it is not clear, then it's very difficult. No matter, even if your watercolor is good, you have a pretty good understanding of the coloring of it, but your basic is not right, then it's not going to work. So please do a lot of sketch, and that gives you a more flexibility to learn this medium. So this is a very important, so try to do that. Another thing is, you also need to understand what is dry technique, what is wet on wet. So these things are pretty important. Now I'll just give you a very quick example in this one. So now since we have just we have done this, so the moisture is there, okay, so moisture is there, and now if I'll put any color here, that is called a wet on. Okay, so let's take an example here. Since this is still have a moisture, can you see that? Okay, now the moment I'll put anything, any color top of it, actually the color spreads. Okay, color spreads. Okay, now this is called wet on wet. Okay, so you're making art on a surface which has a good amount of wetness, and you can you can paint however you want, giving once this paint which you are giving, once it is dry, okay, that gives a very beautiful misty feel. That is also very interesting. So this is called wet on wet. Now if you talk about the dry technique is nothing but the painting, the first layer what you have made. Okay, so this is your first layer. Okay, since it is still not dried, once this get dry, okay, and then you are trying to work on, when you are applying a color, the second layer into it, okay, that is called the dry technique. So dry technique comes in a different way. Dry technique is also, dry technique, you can call this as a dry technique painting. This painting is a dry technique. So my painting was, the very first layer was dried, and then I applied the second layer, like just now what I did was the dry technique. Okay, now there is a dry texture. So once you do this, so can you see is this, so this has some bit of dryness because I don't have much water into my the brush. It has mostly color. So if you want to make this as a like this, okay, and if you want to make a dry, then mostly the 90% you will take a color, and there's no, and if you have no extra water, you can just just mop it a little and then just go for it like this, and this is what you'll get in the dryness. So you can apply such kind of a dry into dry painting. Okay, once the layer has been dried, you can't apply this one over wet on. Okay, that will not work. So that is the another way. So I'm just talking about all of this because I feel this is super important for you to understand. Because just I have been talking and meeting a lot of beginners, a lot of the email I'm receiving, and the painting what they have worked on, and that's what they feel that they have some bit of a problem to understand this medium. And I just thought that this quick video would really help many beginners to understand this. The very important thing is you have to practice every day. You have to make art see what happen is, unless you'll not make art, even if I'll tell you all of this, you will not able to apply all of any of the principle into your, because you have to make art, you have to make as a habit to make art in a regular basis. So once you are making the painting every, every single day, or let's say even every alternate day, then the whatever the learning it happens, okay, it moves on, it goes one level to another level to advanced level. And this is how we improve, and this is how everyone grows, right? This is how it works for me. So I've spent a lot of time to understand and working a lot of time. What happens, whatever I explained, you will not get anything, and you'll end up with like, oh my god, what this guy is talking about, nothing is working for me. This is not working for you because you are not working every day. You have to make painting like this. I'm not saying you go and make a masterpiece of your art. No. All I want to say is just spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes every day, whatever time, and wherever you are. When you are traveling on the bus, when you're commuting to your office, when you're sitting behind the car, okay, you can just take a sketchbook and start drawing something, do some doodling, have some color pocket box with you, right, and make some art every single day. Don't give excuse that I'm not finding the time, and that's really rude. If you are not finding the time, that means that you are really not interested to learn this painting. That's very simple thing I can say. Okay, so if you want to learn art, you will find the time anyway. Okay, you are very intelligent. we all are very intelligent. We know how to get the time what we love, right? So please don't give that excuse. Go and make art every day. Apply these principles. Not only this, there are so many resources available in YouTube and all over the internet. You get the inspiration and make art. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoy this video. Make a lot of art. Again, I'm saying, and yeah. So my best wishes to all of you. So if you want to support me to create many more watercolor tutorial like this, then please go ahead and support me on Patreon. That is really helpful for me. So thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely day. Thank you.